When 80 samurai faced 8,000 Mongol warriors, history witnessed a moment that defied logic, numbers, and expectation. This was not a legendary myth born from exaggeration, but a real confrontation rooted in Japan's struggle against the Mongol invasions of the 13th century. The Mongol Empire, unstoppable across Asia, had already crushed kingdoms and armies far larger than Japan's, led by the descendants of Genghis Khan. The Mongols brought advanced weapons, coordinated tactics, and a ruthless approach to warfare unseen by the samurai before. Japan, at the time, was protected not by a massive standing army, but by regional warriors bound by loyalty, honor, and land. Samurai were trained for individual combat, valuing skill, discipline, and bravery above all else. When Mongol forces landed on Japanese shores, the clash was not only physical but cultural. Mongol warfare relied on numbers, formations, and terror, while samurai combat emphasized personal valor and direct confrontation. In one desperate encounter, a small band of only 80 samurai found themselves standing against an overwhelming Mongol force numbering 8,000. Retreat was impossible. Reinforcements were nowhere in sight. The samurai knew survival was unlikely, yet surrender was unthinkable. To them, honor was greater than life itself. They chose to fight, fully aware that history might never remember their names, families, or sacrifices. The Mongols advanced with drums beating and banners raised, confident sheer numbers would crush the defenders instantly. Arrows darkened the sky, some exploding on impact using gunpowder weapons unfamiliar to the Japanese. Horses charged forward in disciplined waves. Against this storm, the samurai did not break. They tightened armor, raised blades, and prepared to meet death head-on without hesitation. What followed was chaos. The samurai launched fierce counterattacks, charging directly into Mongol lines with unmatched ferocity. Each warrior fought as if carrying the spirit of generations before him. Though vastly outnumbered, their skill allowed them to cut through enemy ranks. Disrupting formations and creating confusion, Mongol soldiers, accustomed to enemies fleeing in terror, were stunned by resistance this determined.
Hours
Passed as the battlefield filled with fallen bodies. The samurai suffered heavy losses, yet continued fighting without pause. Wounded warriors refused to retreat. Some fought until weapons shattered, then continued with bare hands. Others stood their ground to protect fallen comrades, knowing every second bought time for Japan itself. As the sun lowered, exhaustion weighed heavily on both sides. Armor cracked, blades dulled, and voices grew hoarse from battle cries. The samurai pressed forward. Their defiance transformed the battlefield into a lesson the Mongols would never forget. This was not merely resistance, but a declaration that conquest would demand unbearable cost. Despite their courage, numbers eventually overwhelmed them. One by one, the samurai fell, surrounded on all sides. Yet the Mongols paid a far higher price than expected. Thousands were delayed, injured, or killed by a force they believed insignificant. The psychological impact was immense, shaking Mongol confidence. News of such resistance spread quickly among Mongol commanders. They realized every village, every coastline, and every warrior could become a deadly obstacle. The certainty that had carried them across continents began to crack. For the first time, the Mongols faced an enemy who fought not for expansion but for identity and honor. This battle, though small compared to great wars, became a symbol of resistance. It showed discipline and resolve could challenge the greatest empire on earth. Later, typhoons known as Kamikaze destroyed Mongol fleets and ended invasions. But before nature intervened, human courage slowed their advance. The story of 80 samurai standing against 8,000 Mongols reminds us history is shaped not only by victors, but by those who refuse submission. When faced with impossible odds, they chose honor over fear, duty over survival, and carved their place in history forever.